Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hard Knocks debuted the 2021 season last night on HBO. I watched it, featuring America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. And it's funny, this morning, USA Today had a headline, 5 takeaways from Hard Knocks. I started reading it. I'm like, what am I reading this for? I don't need your 5 takeaways. I got a couple. Number one, I was not the biggest Dak Prescott fan. I think people that watch this show know that. I'm less of a Dak Prescott fan coming out of watching this show. What a whiner. What a whiner. Look, I understand you want to take every rep. I get it. You can't take every single rep. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
He was very upset
that he couldn't.
That he was pulled early in this training camp a couple weeks ago because they want to give the backups some work. Danny Bonaducci, the backup quarterback. Well, Ben DiNucci is his name, but I call him Danny Bonaducci, which means nothing to you, do you? He was the star of the Partridge Family. Anyways, that was one. Dak, come on, stop whining. Let these other guys have some work. And then, of course, he ends up getting hurt. 2, the biggest one was Jarrah. When he was talking to the team, I thought it was the head therapist. You said it was the team doctor.
Yeah, it was one of the two.
Yeah. So he's writing with an HB pencil these notes on Dak, talking with the medical staff on the phone. And we all take away different things. But my thing was this. He's eating a McDonald's Egg McMuffin, Jarrah Jones. And people are saying, well, what's odd about that? He's worth $7-8 billion. How's it he not have a Red Seal chef at his ready? You know, here you go, Mr. Jones. We, with his choice, an omelet station.
Yeah, exactly. He's got Benedict or something like.
Right. An omelet station, a guy cutting a roast at the end of the table. Jerry, when you're done with the trainer, we have your choice here of ham, roast beef. Do you want that in your omelet, Mr. Jones?
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show. Now,
can't remember my roommate's name, but we couldn't get into our room, and 2 exotic dancers came down the hallway and said, here you go, let us give you a hand with that.
how about that?
I was 16. It was like, whoa. Mandy at Edmonton has checked in, by the way. She says, flashback. I did find glitter around an ex's house all the way into the bedroom. Now you know. No charge.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. It's me, the champ. We're broadcasting live from Grey Eagle Resort and Casino, Calgary's entertainment destination. Let me turn this all up. There we go. Very special day. The iconic, the great Theoren Fleury is in the house, and he showed up early. Yeah, he's looking in the camera. He's ready to go. Couple segments from now. I'm going to tell you, people rearranged their days off here at the Grey Eagle so they could be here when Theo's here. And surprise, he showed up a half hour early. So I'm telling folks that you can come down here before Theo comes on the air if you want to get an autograph, a picture, that kind of thing. Let's bring in Darren Moose DuPont in. He is in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. And, yeah, Theo's taking some selfies over there. It's going to be a lot of fun chatting with Theo. We love him. Of course, the pride of Oxbow Sask. Doug Plagens, the voice of the Florida Panthers, is going to be with us in hour 2, Moose. I don't know what happened with the Panthers last night. They got stomped in Philly. I'll tell you what, I got my Bet Regal gear on today. You had yours on yesterday. I wouldn't want to be betting on NHL hockey right now, and I think even the playoffs, it's going to be even more crazy. I mean, I could kind of see the Flames walking into Anaheim and stepping on the Ducks. That I could see, but the Leafs getting spanked on the Long Island last night. There's a lot of weird stuff going on in the NHL at the moment.
Dude, extremely weird stuff happening, in and around the National Hockey League, and that's a big one last night. You look at, I know we'll get into it more detail, but man, from the big saves, like Sorokin's save last night, he made 2 big saves. That one, and then a breakaway stop, and that's all the Islanders needed. Boom, went off to score all the goals and win the game. But, yeah, wild in hockey right now.
Come on, jump right into it. Let's hit the quick 6 show horn, please, Director Jordan, and we will really get into it. Hoorah! Thank you. And again, we're live at the Stage Bar at Calgary's entertainment destination. Great Eagle Resort and Casino. I tell you something else, too, by the way. Wherever you're watching right now on Game Plus television across all 10 Canadian provinces, 2 territories, and 31 U.S. states, if it's safe, pick up your phone right now and text us at 902-518-3033. Send me a note right now where you're watching live from, please. And I'll tell you why, Darren. I got a friend of mine, hockey guy out in St. John's, Newfoundland. He's like, I would watch your show every day out there. And I said, no, we're not out. What's your cable? He goes, it's Bell. I said, we're not on Bell with Game Plus TV. And he goes, I'll take a picture of the screen. So we did. Well, shoot. We're on in St. John's, Newfoundland, every day live on Game Plus TV. We need Brian Williams to tell us what time it is in Newfoundland right now. What, 2:30 in Newfoundland? Whatever it is. Tell me right now where you're watching from. 902-518-3033. We'll call it Check-In Wednesday. I used to do this on the radio all the time. I'd like to know where you're watching live from, and it helps me out with what you'd like to listen to. We're going to open with baseball. I will say this. Arash Madani got me going on this on Twitter around 5 o'clock Mountain yesterday. He's going, this is amazing. Mike Trout's coming out with a USA flag, and Shohei Ohtani's coming out with a Japanese flag. I'm like, oh, I better flip it over to Sportsnet. It was kind of slow going at the start. So I flipped over to hockey. But then later on, Ohtani emerged for the bullpen and fanned his Angels teammate Mike Trout. We all know this for the final out in a matchup the whole baseball world wanted to see. Those two leading Japan over the USA 3-2 for their first World Baseball Classic title since 2009. Ohtani batted .435 with a homer, 4 doubles, 8 RBIs, and 10 walks as Japan joined the Dominican Republic in 2013 to become the only unbeaten champions of baseball's premier national team tournament. The game itself was exciting. We've been trying to get people into it over the last week and a half since this thing started, and I think a lot of people did. I saw Kyle Schwarber say after how upset the USA was. He said, this is our Olympics. They were devastated to lose the game, A. B, to lose in their town, like in the USA, in Miami, and to lose to Japan. What a game, man. People are going to be talking about this for quite some time.
They are. And, you know, if I could make one improvement to baseball or to sports, it would be that the organizers could have called a timeout when Ohtani came in to pitch and said, hey, we're going to wait 5 minutes for everybody who hasn't been watching this game to come watch this game, because everybody's talking about what happened at the end of the game when he fanned Mike Trout. And, you know, good on Mike Trout. He was talking about it with the media afterwards, joking that he got the first one and, you know, he was a good sport about it. But that was a moment we'll remember, whether you were watching that game, watch the highlights or not. Really cool moment and a great way to cap off the Baseball Classic.
And I want to say something, too, if you watched the U.S. coverage of it with Alex Rodriguez. I'm not sure what channel he was on, if it was Fox or Baseball Network or whatever, but A-Rod, say what you want about him, the steroids and stuff, probably going to keep him out of the Hall of Fame. But damn, is he good. He's just one of those guys that's good at whatever he does. And if you saw his post-game analysis, he said analytics would have told most Major League Baseball managers not to put Ohtani in. He said the manager of Japan did not use analytics. They played to win. He went with his gut. And I think that takes a lot of balls, and I hope that a lot of Major League Baseball managers were listening to that, and they don't go by the silly numbers. I know why they do, because it takes them off the hook. Well, the numbers said we should have pulled Kevin Gausman in the 5th inning. Oh, yeah, how'd that work out? Anyways, and we were talking about the future of the World Baseball Classic. That's point 2. It's going to return for its 6th edition in March of 2026, with organizers concluding spring training remains a better time than after the World Series or in the middle of the Major League Baseball season. Commissioner Rob Manfred says owners and GMs have to be persuaded to make more star pitchers available to the national teams. Since its launch in 2006, the World Baseball Classic has been played exclusively in March. Many MLB teams blocked pitchers from participating, wanting them to concentrate on preparing for the season. So I'll just say that it's staying where it is, which we talked about yesterday. We'd like to see that be the case. By the way, April 25th, don't miss comedian, actress, producer, and podcaster Whitney Cummings live right here at the Grey Eagle Event Center. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.ca. That's Tuesday, April 25th. I'm not sure that we're going to get through all of the Quick Six show topics here, Moose. With you, I might bring you back next hour, segment 2, so be ready for that NHL one-timers from Tuesday night. Nikolai Ehlers and Adam Lowry scored first-period goals, and the Winnipeg Jets hung on to defeat the visiting Arizona Coyotes 2-1 Tuesday night. How about, you mentioned the save by Sorokin for the Islanders last night. Connor Hellebuyck last night recorded his 31st victory in his 55th start. And did you see him reach back with the paddle of his stick? An old goalie trick that I used on you once, Moose.
You did.
That was, to me, very, very much of a surprise to whoever the shooter was for the Coyotes. It was just as good a save as Sorokin. So all tricks we have as old goalies that you, unsuspecting shooters, don't even know about. Way to go, Winnipeg. The visiting Vegas Golden Knights moved into sole possession of first in the NHL's Pacific Division with a 4-3 win over the Vancouver Canucks. The Calgary Flames scored 2 goals in the first period and got 17 saves from Dan Vladar to defeat the Anaheim Ducks 5-1. Ho, ho, ho. The naysayers saying, well, it was only Anaheim. The fact was, it was only Anaheim. But at least they kept pace. Adam Larson scored on a breakaway backhander, 152 into overtime. An emergency call-up goalie Joey Dicard made 25 saves in his first NHL appearance since November 1st. The visiting Seattle Kraken beat the Dallas Stars 5-4. The Montreal Canadiens scored twice in the first period, then hung on for a surprising 3-2 win over the visiting Tampa Bay Lightning. Kirby Dach, Jonathan Drouin, and Mike Matheson scored for the Habs. Boston Bruins spotted the visiting Ottawa Senators an early 1-0 lead and then got goals from David Krejci and Jake DeBrusk and 1-2-1 over the Sens. And we winded up with this. Darren Sam Clutterbuck scored twice, and the New York Islanders scored 3 unanswered goals in the second period en route to a 7-2 win over the visiting Toronto Maple Leafs. You as the Leafs fan in attendance, how do we feel about that? I hear the Leafs Nation, the sky's falling today. They got spanked on Long Island.
Well, it's tough, especially a team that, you know, is going to be hopefully headed to the playoffs. I mean, the Islanders, it's more of a question about them or the Panthers, but, you know, it is disappointing. And what I don't like is the team was in it in the first period, and a couple things don't go your way, right? There's the play from Gustafsson, wide open net, and Sorokin makes the amazing paddle save, sure, one of the saves of the year. And then Kampf has a breakaway. He stops that as well. And it feels like those two things mentally wrecked that team, and they never recovered. All of a sudden, it's like it's not happening for us tonight, and the game was tied at 1. I'm like, you can't fall apart in that moment. That's a little concerning. But again, you have to wash these and just move on and not worry about it.
Yeah, these, I guess you'd be more worried about in the playoffs than now. I kind of wondered, holy smokes. Look at this. I asked for the viewers. Jeff Caldwell watching on Game Plus television in Redmond, Oregon. Somebody named Paula DuPont watching in Wynyard, Sask.
How about that?
Asked. Randy Nickel watching in Cochrane, Alberta, the host's home of George Fox. Aaron, he says it's the Juice Man checking in from Bridgeland in Calgary. Love you guys. Love you, Aaron. Thank you for that. Ask and you shall receive. Sean in Vancouver says, Bonza, great win for Japan. Bo in Saskatoon says he is watching on YouTube as per the norm.
Beautiful.
And Nick watching in Lumsden, Sask. Keep it coming. Wherever you're watching from, 902-518-3033. Let us get it going today. Hey, all this other stuff, we're going to get into this with Theo. Here's a funny one. He just left the stage for a second, so let's talk about him for a second while he's gone. One of the staff here, Moose, said to me, and you'd know him, but I don't want to name him. He goes, Theo, Fleury's coming in today? I said, yeah. He goes, he played for the Flames? I said, yeah. He goes, was he good? What? Yeah, 1,084 games, 1,088 points, Stanley Cup, Olympic gold. Just talked about the baseball players saying this was their Olympics and they lost. What do you mean, was he good? So I guess it's important that we do, it's important that we do talk about these things. And then Theo rolled in here. He's like, the Warriors going to make the playoffs? I looked it up. I'm like, they clinched. His former team. So the Hitmen have not clinched. The Medicine Hat Tigers have not clinched, and they're playing tonight. Calgary's in Lethbridge. Medicine Hat's home to Edmonton. I want to ask you this because I want to bring Theo in next. We got 4 minutes here, Moose, before we break. The junior hockey playoffs. I'm seeing last night the Cooperators Arena was bursting at the seams for AAA midget, whatever they call it now, female hockey. I see there was a brawl in Weyburn last night, and the Battlefords coach got kicked out. I'm like, this is the time. We follow the junior hockey in the NHL all year long, but if you're one of those weirdos that doesn't, now's the time to get on board because the juices are flowing, man. The emotions are high. I hope everybody keeps it safe. This is why it's the best time of the year, right now.
I agree. Well, I mean, did I just fall off my stance that spring is better? I don't know. But it is amazing. It is. You can't argue with when you get into playoff time and the games mean more. Well, it is awesome. And you see it. Like, Battlefords has such a unbelievable regular season, not to get into the nuances of junior hockey, but when you get into the playoffs, anything happens. I mean, Weyburn took the first game. They're hanging in there in game 3. Like, you got some fire going. And I don't know. To me, and you know this, there's nothing like junior hockey. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I wish that I could go all across the country. That's why I wanted to be at the Centennial Cup so bad, because we are such fans, but it doesn't look like we're going to be there. But that's my point. Get out, buy a ticket, and support these teams, and you're going to have a hell of a lot of fun, too. Landry in the YouTube chat, I apologize, popping up all over the place. Hang on. Comments are going crazy here. Landry, I think last night's game will do more for baseball than any World Series game will do. Oh, yeah, there's that. International competition. We opened this up talking about the World Baseball Classic, and obviously Theo was following it because he was pumping his fist in the air. How about that crowd in Miami? They haven't had a crowd that big at Marlins Park in 20 years, and they were going crazy. They were going insane. Honestly, I was about the third inning. I'm watching this going, why am I watching this? I'm not cheering for USA or Japan. I honestly did flip it back over to hockey. But because of the social media push, I went back and watched the ending. And that was absolutely wild. It was crazy. But any last thoughts, Moose? We got 2 minutes. I see the XFL ratings. Somebody posted this. They have crept into the over 1 million viewers per game in the XFL. They started at about 230,000 per game. So in 5 weeks, they've quintupled their ratings. Why do you think that's happened?
That's pretty good. I think it just takes time to get more viewers in. It tells me a little bit that the viewers who were watching and gave it a shot in week 1 liked it and continued to watch. And so it's not like they were replacing viewers each week. It was keeping them, grabbing them, keeping them, and growing week over week. I think The Rock's done a great job promoting it. The documentaries that have followed about the building of the XFL, it's all played a role, and now we're learning more and more about the players that are in there. So they're doing the right things.
Marketing. Who knew? Jack is watching in Vulcan, Alberta, and he says WHL is better hockey to watch than most NHL games. Absolutely, Jack. I've been saying it for years. And Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, says, will God's team, the Regina Pats, be the darkest of dark horses, the biggest dark horse team in the Dub playoffs? I'm going to bring you back next hour to talk about that, Darren, because it looks like my Pats are lining up against your Blades. And there could be blood in the streets with that matchup. Theoren Fleury joins us next. We're live at Grey Eagle Resort and Casino on Game Plus Television. Tell us where you're watching from, please, all across Canada or one of the 31 U.S. states. We're also live streaming on YouTube, iHeartRadio, and we are Atlanta's NHL show on WQEE The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
It's March, it's madness! Capital GMC Buick Cadillac has gone mad with crazy low pricing throughout the store. Capital has Sierra 1500s with rates starting as low as 1.49%. Over 400 new vehicles in stock, or drive away in a GM certified pre-owned vehicle. They all come with a 150 plus point inspection and a 3-month warranty. It's March, it's madness! On now at Capital GMC Buick Cadillac, Saskatchewan's #1 GM retailer, capitalgmc.ca. Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
All right, we're live. We're live at Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. I knew that it was going to be a gonger right out of the start. We got Theoren Fleury with us here at the stage bar before a live audience. How about a big hand for Theo? Yay! See, look at that. They're all showing up. Jason's mom's here. Right? She's like, we're supposed to say that. This is funny, man. I told you how the staff, some people switch their days. There she is. There she is. That's the gal. Theo showed up early. How about that? Which you normally do, right? You're never late for anything.
Never late.
Because you care.
Well, it's just out of respect for people, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So as much as you're loved here, one of the staff said to me, Theo, Fleury, was he good?
I can play a little.
I said 1,088 points in 1,084 games, which is pretty wild when you think about it, mathematically.
Well, I wasn't supposed to play one game in the
That
NHL.
too. That too.
And I was drafted 470
something.
Yeah.
In a big man's era.
Yeah.
Were you ever scared
of
getting hurt?
No.
I don't. That doesn't surprise me.
But you can't, though.
Yeah.
Like if I would have showed any kind of, I would have had a short
career. Yeah.
I would have went to Europe, you know.
Yeah. Well, and here's the interesting thing.
Played in 30 straight Spangler Cups, you know. And,
Well, you played in everything.
Yeah.
And won everything. But I jumped head first into the hockey thing here. Let me just ask you this. How are you? How's life? I haven't seen you since Lanny's roast.
Yeah, life's good.
Good. Yeah. What's up? Well, give me an update.
Still plugging away at Canadians for Truth. You know, we got our shows online now, and Jamie and I are doing live shows, so we have one tomorrow night in Calgary. I believe there's a few tickets left, so you can go to CanadiansForTruth.ca. We have Constable Brian Dennison on the show tomorrow, so should be an interesting conversation.
You still hanging out with Tucker Carlson?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How's the, see his face just light up? Tell me about that, as much as you can.
Well, it was kind of interesting because he had me on his show for like a 4-minute segment. And I guess I did a good job on that segment. So he invited me to come to his studio in Portland, Maine. So we went down there. I did a whole hour with Tucker. And the night before, we actually had dinner and spent 3 or 4 hours talking about his life and all those things. And now we've just become buddies, you know. I text him and texts me right back. It's kind of interesting. Yeah. So for a guy that's so busy, you know, and he's the exact same guy you see on TV.
I bet.
Yeah.
And you're the exact same guy. Exactly. Rightly or wrongly, or good or bad. And I'm the same. But I'll say this. Here's the thing. When I had promoted over the last couple of days that Theo was coming down here, obviously a lot of people were excited, and people have showed up and changed their schedule to be here. There was the people that were upset, too. And I'm like, I'm not sure the definition of apolitical, but my buddy Kevin down here, I think he would. I'm just me. You know, as far as politics, I don't really get into it. I don't want to fight. I'm a sports guy. Right? And it's made my life a lot easier.
But unfortunately, politics has entered into sports too, right? And has absolutely no business being in sports, right? And that's the unfortunate.
I feel like it came in during COVID especially, and it kind of got kicked out. That's the sense, like the NFL's not as woke as it was.
Right. Well, because go woke, go broke. Right? Yeah. So it's all about the dollars. It's unfortunate because I believe that sports is an escape for people.
Right.
It's entertainment. And really, at the end of the day, you know, politics should never be a part of sports at all.
But politics, to me, shouldn't be entertainment, and to a lot of people it is.
It has become
entertainment.
Yeah, because you know when all these 24-hour news channels started, then the politicians, instead of doing their jobs and working for the people, they became celebrities, right? And you know, and when you become a celebrity, you aren't equipped to be able to handle that celebrity that, you know,
the responsibility
that being in the media brings. And so and they've actually weaponized, you know, the media. These politicians have weaponized the media, and so, you know, it's all about division, and we're so divided as a society now that you know, I don't know if there's a way back to the middle ever again.
Well, we've had that discussion.
Yeah.
You don't think we're coming back. I have not given up hope that we could get back to some sort of normalcy, but
you
know what I mean? That's a difference of opinion, I guess.
It is. But, you know, like I'm okay debating politics, right? I don't get mad. I don't, you know,
me either.
You know, it's just, it's about, you know, at the end of the day, it's about discerning the truth, right? What is the truth? Because the truth ultimately wins in the end, right? And there's so much deception and lies and coercion, manipulation, all these things, you know.
Well, what's interesting about that is there's that in sports too.
Of course.
Right? I guess that's just a societal thing. But how much are you following the National Hockey League right now?
Well, it's getting down to the nitty gritty. You know,
it's the
best time of year to be playing, right?
Yeah.
And you know, obviously the races for the wild card spots are, you know, close, and so it's interesting.
Our poll question today for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center, the reason I ask him that is this: Capital has dealerships all across the Canadian prairies and the state of California. Fill in the blank. The Stanley Cup champion will come from blank conference. Eastern Conference or Western Conference? What do you think?
East.
Yeah? Because the best team resides there? Or
I think the best teams reside there. You know, New York's great. Boston's great. Toronto's great. You know, there's lots of great teams. So that, you know, that playoff on the eastern side is going to be really competitive and interesting. And the Leafs will once again go out in the first round, unfortunately.
Write it down.
Yeah.
What makes you say that?
Well, how many times have they been out of the first round? 6? Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. So I just, their star players just don't have the grit it takes to, you know, to take them all the way. And their goaltending is, you know, okay.
Well, what about this? John Paddock came on this show, knows a thing or two about the game. And he said, and you understand the line of thinking, he goes, they're going to beat the hell out of each other in the East.
Yeah.
And the West will just come on and waltz to a Stanley Cup. That's John's thinking. And for that reason, I actually voted for the West in this poll.
Well, I really like the way the Los Angeles Kings are playing right now. So
yeah.
You know?
Todd McClellan.
Mm-hmm. So that would be my pick coming out of the West.
The LA Kings?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Because what you hear all the time is Colorado. I actually have a Vegas-Boston final.
Yeah.
And I think from a storyline perspective, Bruce Cassidy against this old team.
Vegas will... No.
Not a fan?
No. No, I'm not a big... who's that kid they traded from Buffalo there?
Eichel.
Yeah, I'm not a big Eichel fan, so...
Not many are.
No.
But dang, he's good. Talented.
Yeah, but, you know, the playoffs... Like, the regular season is one thing, right? They play a certain style in the regular season. The playoffs is different. If you look at all the teams that have won Stanley Cups in the last 5 or 6 years, big teams that can skate, you know, are aggressive. So...
Yeah, I saw them in Florida last month, and they lost, and they were terrible. And then they actually went on a 4-game winning streak after that, Vegas. That was like the wake-up call. But Eichel, he is one of those guys, high risk. You understand the definition in hockey terms. Yeah. Somebody's going to score when he's on the ice. Either team.
Yeah. Well, and it's the team that plays the best defensive hockey and gets the best goaltending that wins.
It's not 80s anymore. If you score the most goals, wins.
But the formula hasn't changed. In '89, we had the lowest goals against, the best goalie, best power play, best penalty killing. You know, those things matter.
Yeah.
And if you're kind of average mid of the road during the regular season, you're not going to be able to step it up, and those are the things
flip a switch.
Those are the things that win games in the playoffs.
I've asked the viewers to text it. We got a lot here. 902. Well, no. It's just where they're watching from. Dougal Cameron says, good morning. Checking in from Riverbend in Calgary. Have a great show. Bill Edwards is watching in Regina on Game Television. Chris Tom checking in on Game Plus TV from Heidelberg, Ontario. Kevin Hughes watching live here at Grey Eagle. Kelly Bruce watching from the Queen City, listening while driving between job orders. Oh, by Royston, Sask. That's my old stomping ground. Bruno Kempen watching in Hinton, Alberta. So we're very big apparently in Alberta and Sask. How about those Winnipeg Jets?
I like their team. They're big. You know, I would say their defense is probably a little bit too small to compete at, you know, the highest level. Right? They have a great goalie. Right?
Very good goalie.
Yeah. So he could obviously steal a series, but I don't know if he can steal 4 of them. Right?
Yeah. Here come the good. I got a million questions for Theo, but the viewers always have the best. Jason in Red Deer says, Theo, have you gotten to see Connor Bedard play live yet? Thoughts?
I haven't been able to see him play live. I'm not sure about all the hype, you know. He's got a long ways to go. You know, he's a great offensive player. And I know when I got to the NHL, I had to completely change my game. Completely change it. Because I got to the NHL and I was the 4th line centerman for the Calgary Flames. So my job was momentum, change the momentum of the game, bring a spark and some excitement. They didn't really care if I scored or not, And so, I ended up playing the point on the power play because Gary Suter broke his jaw in the first game of the first round of the playoffs. And so, I became more of a role player. And these young guys, I don't know, because they come in with all this hype and all this stuff, there's high expectations where there wasn't really any high expectations on me when
You're
I
a late draft pick, you said it.
Yeah. So, he's a great offensive talent, but, is he going to have the impact immediately? I would say no.
They're trying to get him to play defense, and I assume you watched the World Juniors. He didn't at all. He's come a long way in that regard,
right.
But he's going to have to. You're right, in the NHL level. Now, when you got to the NHL, were you 20?
Have you ever heard the story about Stevie Y and Scotty Bowman?
No.
So Scotty Bowman gets hired as the coach of the Detroit Red Wings. Stevie Yzerman's getting 150 points a year, but they're not having any playoff success. So Scotty sits him down. He says, Stevie, I want you to get 80 points a year and become our best defensive hockey player. And Stevie's like, okay. What happens? Wins 3 Stanley Cups. So it's not about offense all the time. And that's what I see with Matthews, Marner, and Nylander. They only care about scoring goals. And at the end of the day, it's how well you play defensively that's going to get you through round after round after round after round. And so I don't see those guys have bought into, maybe I should only get 80 points a year, but have success in the playoffs. And that's where you make a name for yourself, is in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You don't make a name for yourself in the regular season.
They say regular season makes all-stars, playoffs makes legends.
Yeah.
I never forgot that.
Yeah.
Theoren Fleury's with us, and he's answering your questions. And as a matter of fact, if he wants to sign some autographs and take some photos in this break, we can do that. We'll be right back live to Grey Eagle Resort and Casino after this timeout on Game Plus Television, YouTube Live, and your Southern Home of Sports and Talk, WQEE, The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
It's March. It's madness. Capital Ford has gone mad with crazy low pricing throughout the store. Save up to $7,000 on a brand new F-150. They have over 150 available right now. Or drive home in a new to you used vehicle. Plus, Capital Ford offers the highest guaranteed trade-in value, or they'll give you $500 cash. Get your hands on a new ride before they come to their senses. On now at Capital Ford. Visit CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for $25, 3 for $60, or 10 for $100, but there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Live look-in, Grey Eagle Resort and Casino, Calgary's entertainment destination. Just ahead of more with Theoren Fleury, a sports update on this Wednesday. From last night in Seattle, Dylan Genther scored twice. Jeremy Hansel added 3 assists, and the Seattle Thunderbirds defeated the visiting Kamloops Blazers 6-3. That was in Seattle. Tonight, those two teams will meet in the Loops. In Swift Current, Sam McGinley had a goal and a helper, and his Swift Current Broncos scored 3 unanswered goals in the third to defeat the visiting Oil Kings 5-2. And in Portland, Ty Halliburton's second goal of the game, scored at 4:24 of overtime, gave the visiting Vancouver Giants a 3-2 win over the Portland Winterhawks. In the SJ, and I'm just saying that instead of all the other leagues because that's where I'm from, Estevan beat Flin Flon 4-3 in overtime. Bombers lead the series 2-1. Battleford's over Weyburn 3-0, and there was a brouhaha at the end of the game. Stars lead the series 2-1. Nipawin over Humboldt 4-3. The Broncos have a 2-1 series lead. And up in Larange, your old buddy Killer Kaminsky, Theo, his Ice Wolves beat Melfort 4-3 in overtime. The Ice Wolves up 2-1. And the sports update is for Landmark Cinemas. Sign up for Landmark Extras and see what's playing now at landmarkcinemas.com. In theaters now, Scream 6. Following the latest ghost face killings, the 4 survivors leave Woodsboro behind and start a fresh new chapter. Scream 6 in Landmark Cinemas. Now, Theoren Fleury's here, the iconic Theo Fleury. But today you want to talk about baseball. You were watching last night.
Oh, yeah.
What'd you think?
I thought it was a great game. Great game. Well played and well managed. The Japanese pitchers did a great job of, keeping those guys at bay. So, and then obviously the final last inning with Ohtani and Mike Trout.
Yeah.
That was iconic. I remember one time I was living in Santa Fe and just happened to turn a baseball game. I was Seattle and Oakland. And Randy Johnson pitched to Mark McGuire. Randy Johnson threw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and McGuire hit it 500 feet. And I was just like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. So,
quite a sport, huh?
Yeah. And, I was a better baseball player and was a hockey player.
Stop.
So
really?
Yeah.
What position?
I was a catcher. Yeah.
Sucker for punishment, you
No,
were. It was a physical position.
I loved it. Yeah. So played tons of ball when I was a kid. So, and then when I was in Moose Jaw, for 4 years, I played A men's fastball in Moose Jaw. So, yeah, I love the sport.
Do you go back to any of the Warriors stuff?
I go back every year to the golf tournament.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because Tim Hunter, who obviously you're close with, great guy, he goes back every year.
Yeah.
And I said, Tim, you got fired there. How do you go back? He goes, you got to get over that stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
It's part of the business,
yes.
right?
Good for Tim and good for you.
You can only coach for so long, before it gets a little bit old, right?
Yeah. By the way, Jackie Fisher writes in. Jackie says, these are so great. What a way technology has brought us. We can now talk to our newspaper. I think he's talking about how we're doing live sports and we can interact with each other. But I don't want to let you get out of here. And you said you're here for a while, but I got to ask you about Lanny's roast. We just kind of glossed over that.
Yeah.
What a huge that was something, man. Most roasts I go to are in the bottom of the travel lodge. You know what I mean? The basement.
Right.
This was on the floor of the Saddle Dome. You were dressed like, I don't know what, the King of England. Your gal stole the show. And this, it was, what a night.
Yeah. It's always great when the 89 team comes together and comes back together. And, I hadn't seen Newey in a long time.
Hasn't aged, huh?
Yeah. Rick Natras, all those guys, and that's the thing about winning is, the guys you win with, you have a certain bond for the rest of your life. And guys you don't win with, you don't have that same, camaraderie. I remember, what was it, the 25th anniversary of the Stanley Cup. And we were going to spend the whole weekend together. They had a bunch of events planned for us. But on the Friday, they took us down to the dressing room. And within 5 minutes, everybody was in the role they were 25 years prior to that. The funny guys were the funny guys. The serious guys were the serious guys. And I thought, you know what? This is what winning's all about.
Yes, and legacy. I'll be honest, I was at the Flames Stars game Saturday night here, and behind me was a young family. It just warmed my heart, and I'm not the biggest Flames guy. I'm becoming that. But the kid was looking up at the banners, and he says, McDonald, 9. Number 9, he's looking at it, and his dad goes, he won the Stanley Cup, and he retired. The kid was like 6, Theo. Yeah. And the kid goes, well, Dad, why would he retire after he just won? Good question, right? Yeah. Out of the mouth of babes. Yeah, but that passing it along, that kind of stuff is what I love, right? Generation to generation.
Yeah, it's been, if you go Lanny, then there was the Nieuwendyk sort of era, then there was my era, then the Iginla era, then the Johnny Gaudreau and, Matthew Tkachuk era. So, there's always a torch that gets, passed down year after year, generation after generation.
2.5 minutes here. What about this year's Flames?
Yeah, they just haven't found chemistry. They've had a really tough time. They basically gutted the core of their team, brought in a new group of core guys, but I also know that, the Sutters are not a lot of fun to play for. They're very demanding, and especially mentally. And, I see the team right now not having a lot of fun playing. And, that's a direct result of having a coach that's on you constantly, day after day after day. But, it's professional hockey. And you have to rise above that and, go out and do your job regardless.
Yeah. Well, the Sutter fans, let me say this. You tell me what you think about this. They're like, guys making $8.5 million out there. Who cares if you're having fun or not? Earn your paycheck.
Yeah, but
is that a fair?
But the ultimate,
comment?
The reason why we play the game is it has to be fun.
Yeah.
Right. That's the reason why I got into hockey in the first place, because it was fun. And when you're not having fun, it's hard. It's really, really hard. And if the team's not having success, and you're the $8 million guy, you're trying everything to get out of that instead of just going back to what you know and playing the way that the reason why you're there in the first place, right? Mm-hmm. So, and to be honest with you, I don't know if they have that game breaker that can play with a guy like Jonathan Huberdeau, right? A pure goal scorer, because you got a pure passer, you need a pure goal scorer to play with a pure passer, and that hasn't
happened,
hasn't developed, right? And Kadri, I'm sure, is tired. He's played a lot of hockey, a lot of meaningful hockey, and he was great at the beginning of the year, and then his play kind of just has dropped off, and he's a bit lost out there.
More with
Theo. Goaltending. And goaltending. Right?
You talked about it earlier. You need it to win.
You got to have it to win.
And they're not getting it. More with Theo in hour 2. We'll talk a little bit more about his life as well. We'll continue with the hockey talk, of course, but and more of your questions. We'll be right back to Grey Eagle after this timeout. You are watching on Game Plus TV, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and we are Atlanta's NHL show on WQEE, The Key.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
It's March. It's madness. Capital Ford has gone mad with crazy low pricing throughout the store. Save up to $7,000 on a brand new F-150. They have over 150 available right now. Or drive home in a new to you used vehicle. Plus, Capital Ford offers the highest guaranteed trade-in value, or they'll give you $500 cash. Get your hands on a new ride before they come to their senses. On now at Capital Ford. Visit CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
A lot of
Beautiful day here in the gateway to the foothills. We're broadcasting live from Grey Eagle Resort and Casino, Calgary's entertainment destination. Theoren Fleury is with us, and he will be taking photos and signing autographs here after the program. But it was funny, Theo. There's the hockey side, and you can talk about it forever, but your life is, well, it's a book, and can we say a movie? Is that...
Still working on it.
Still work? Is it going to happen, though?
I think eventually it will. Unfortunately, I can't get down to the States right now.
Right.
So that's kind of put a wrench
yeah.
into it. But we do have a lot of people interested in helping us make that happen. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because whatever the documentary was on you, was Playing with Fire, was that the name of it?
Yeah.
the guy wrote in here and said, what happened, Theo? You bought a house and then you lost it? Yeah. Did you ever get your house back? Tell that story. That's wild.
Well, as I was trying to find the house
in Santa Fe,
it really kind of put things into perspective as to what kind of headspace I was in while I was there, you know. And you know the insanity of the disease of addiction. Addiction. So, yeah, it was interesting that I couldn't find the place
that you'd bought.
That I'd bought, you know.
Was that rock bottom? I was going to ask that next hour, but I guess it's come up here.
Yeah, it was. I would say it was. You know, obviously the failed suicide attempt was, but I think I had to go through that whole exercise because I figured out that I really wanted to live, but I had no clue how to live life on life's terms, and so I had to figure that out, right? And you know, as you know, any kind of healing journey, you know, the spiritual component is probably the most important thing. And I always thought I could skip over those first 3 steps.
A lot of people do.
Of the program. And, you know, it kept kicking my ass. And, you know, and it was really when I started traveling to all of the indigenous communities that I was traveling to, and they started teaching me about spirituality. And, you know, it really made sense to me, you know, sweat lodge, smudge, drum, singing, powwow dancing, you know, Sundance.
They live it, right?
Yeah. And that was really the turning point for me. That took me to the next level of spirituality that I was missing for, you know, probably the majority of my life.
Your whole life, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm hearing more here in Alberta about the smudging and that, and maybe it's because I'm living at Sutina than I ever did in Saskatchewan, but I'm sure they do it there too, right? But I just hear more about it here. This must mean something to you, though. You went through all the struggles, but the guys that I'm running across now, the Matthew Barnabys and the Stu Grimsons that you played with, they always said Theo was always the best guy. That must mean something.
For sure. Yeah, I think... well, you know, the first 3 things I learned in Russell, Manitoba, was respect was number 1, right? I always said please, I always said thank you. When I shook people's hands, I looked them in the eye and said, nice to meet you, sir. Nice to meet you, ma'am. Second thing I learned was to love and care for my teammates. And then I learned about consequences, that we're all responsible for our choices, actions, and our decisions, right? Which takes blame out of the equation, right? And I lost that somewhere along the way. And once I got back to those 3 core principles, you know, but I was always that guy, right? Stick up for my teammates, you know, always nice to my teammates. I was never, you know, a dickhead.
I remember that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Jeff in Winnipeg writes in, he says, I'm sure it's a long healing process for what you went through, Theo. Just remember, many of us are with you all the way. And I know that you feel that. And to be honest, you don't know that I've been looking at you over the last year going, I want to get to where you are in a lot of regards, mentally and emotionally. Right. And I think I am, where now when people come at me with stuff, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
And we only got 30 seconds, so we'll carry this over into next hour.
And that's the thing about when you fully realize that you are standing in your truth and that you are comfortable with your past and your story, when you get there.
Anybody can say anything and it doesn't bother you.
And that's serenity, right? That's serenity, and that's where we're...
That's where we want to go.
That's where we
More with Theo and the Florida Panthers' Doug Plagens in hour 2 after this brief pause.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for 25, 3 for 60, or 10 for 100, but there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Now,
Can't remember my roommate's name, but we couldn't get into our room, and two exotic dancers came down the hallway and said, "Here you go, let us give you a hand with that."
How about that?
I was 16. It was like, whoa. Mandy at Edmonton has checked in, by the way. She says, flashback. I did find glitter around an ex's house all the way into the bedroom. Now you know. No charge.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
It is, and it's a great day. It's always a great day here at Grey Eagle Resort and Casino, but extra special today because our good friend Theoren Fleury is with us for one more segment, and he's agreed to answer some viewer and audience questions here. 1,000 games in the NHL, 1,000 points in the NHL, 1,000 plus in both those categories. Stanley Cup champion, Olympic gold medalist. What am I forgetting? You get a world medal?
Well, did you know there's 15 guys in the history of the game who averaged 1,000 games, averaged over a point a game in the regular season and in the playoffs, and 14 of them are in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
We're going there, are we? Hey. All right.
Can you guess which one isn't?
Yeah. Listen, I get upset when I think about that. I can't imagine what you think about that.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know.
I get angry, and where this came on my radar was when they announced the last 2-3 years of induction classes. I saw Gino Reda say, Theo's not in the hall because of a stigma. And I just lost my mind.
What is a stigma?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know.
Have you been given a reason why it could be good?
Nobody said a word to me. That's the funny thing, right? Nobody said a word. So, yeah. Too much fighting.
You fought too much. There's not a lot of fighters in the Hockey Hall of Fame, by the way.
Yeah, that's true.
If you've noticed.
That's true. Well, most of my penalty minutes were stick infractions, so.
Protecting yourself.
And 10-minute misconduct.
Yeah. Well, do you think it'll happen?
I don't know. What I tell people, you know, the work's already been done. And if they see so fit to put me in there, be honored, right?
But as I've told you, You had a Hall of Fame career. To me, that's enough. You're a Hall of Famer to me, but I don't think that's holding any water with you. Do you agree?
No, I already think I'm there.
You are.
Right? You know, and...
Yeah, they're from the crowd.
You know, what's more important to me than anything else is I'm still here, living and breathing, and that's, you know, ultimately what matters and what counts. And, you know, the thousands upon thousands of people, you know, that I've helped along the way to achieve, you know, sobriety and serenity and all those things, you know, I really believe, you know, that's the real reason why I was put here, you know, not the hockey
to play
stuff,
hockey.
You know, but the hockey obviously gave me, you know, the voice that I have.
The platform.
But, you know, at the end of the day, all I know is every single night, no matter what shape I was in, I gave you everything I had every single night. You know, I didn't take any nights off, and you know, so I'm at peace with that part of it. And, you know, every day I spend trying to, you know, just get better, right? Be better today than I was yesterday.
So many people don't. And I do want to get to these viewer comments in a second, but I can't let you go without asking you this. This is hard for 99.9% of people to understand. You get it. Theo and I were both trained from the same recovery academy in Connecticut, CCAR. Have you reached the point of being grateful for all you went through?
Yeah, 100%.
Right. Who would? But you know, people are watching this going, "How could he be grateful?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see my parents as a gift. I see Graham James as a gift. Because without those experiences, you know, I'm not here today doing what I'm doing, right? And I'm probably having a bigger impact today than I ever did playing hockey, you know, and that's what matters. That's what counts. And, you know, what people don't realize is there's gifts in pain and suffering. It's why the Creator gives us adversity, is to build resilience in us. And once you have resilience, there isn't anything that the world throws at you that you can't overcome or turn, you know, the proverbial chicken shit into chicken salad, you know what I mean? And so I believe that's the greatest gift that I was given my whole entire life was adversity, because it built this resilient guy who, you know, pretty much overcame everything that was thrown at him. And that's the example, right?
Yes, and I know you're inspiring. You said thousands. I think it's millions. But this is a hilarious story. Theo was good enough to open his home to me. And what do you got, 10-foot doors at the front of that thing?
Mm-hmm.
So you peeked at, what are you, 5'7"?
5'6".
5'6".
Yeah.
5'6".
Yeah. 5'9"
You peeked out
with
from
the
behind this door, and I'm like, I'm looking around this mansion. You could tell I was stunned because I've heard all the stories. I've watched the videos. I read the book. I thought you were living in a cardboard box. You're in a freaking mansion. Do you remember what you said?
No.
I didn't spend it all.
Yeah.
Your dog has a steam room.
Yes.
So you've turned that into a pretty good life.
Yeah.
Like that house is...
It's been great.
It's the dream.
It's been great. And, you know, my wife is similar to me. She's an incredibly hard worker. She's very smart. She actually just took over my company and is running my company now. And we're having lots of fun traveling around and doing speaking engagements together and, you know, helping people come to grips with their traumatic experiences that they've experienced in life.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And she can totally relate, right? And, you know, she's an incredibly talented human being when it comes to that kind of stuff. And, you know, in the 10 years we've been together, we've never been on a vacation together. So we built that house to be...
Why would you need to leave?
to be all of that.
Hot tub, steam room, sauna, I think.
Yeah.
Movie theater.
Yeah.
With, by the way, what, your 3 most meaningful jerseys to you on the wall?
Yeah.
What are they again?
Stanley Cup, Canada Cup, and Olympic gold.
Olympic gold. Yeah, not bad.
I would have loved to put my World Junior up there, but there's enough room. So I could only
The punch up in Piastani?
No, the gold medal.
Oh,
We
I'm
won the
sorry.
year after.
Okay.
Everybody
Well,
talks about, it's kind of trumped what we did the year after. We went into Moscow, into the Soviet Union, and beat the Russians right in their own barn, in the same rink that Paul Henderson scored the goal in 1972. 20 snotty-nosed brats from Canada went into Russia and stole the gold medal right from them.
I honestly did not realize you'd won World Junior Gold.
Yeah.
So there's another reason to be in the Hall of Fame. Olympic
and I was
gold
the
standard.
captain of the team.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, by the way, John in Winnipeg says, thank you, Theo, for being you. I don't need no Hall of Fame to prove you're a great hockey player and an even better man. Bravo, Theo. John in Winnipeg. Jack in Vulcan, Alberta says, there's purpose in pain. Rod and Theo, it's our calling. Jack does the same thing. He does it with football players.
Oh, yeah.
They're a different breed. Oh, Nelson, our VP of Sim Events. This is the sports version of Dr. Phil here today. Nelson says, you're getting deep on the show. Where does that will to change come from?
Well, it was either that or die. Right?
Not a lot of options when you're at the end of the road.
That's where we're headed, right?
Yeah.
That's where. But isn't it interesting that, that God always brings us back to him?
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember the day before I got sober, I had burned every single relationship in my life. Everybody was gone. And the only person who was left was God. And I reached out to God and asked him for help. And the next day was the day that I stopped drinking. And that was almost 6,500 days ago.
How many years? I'm bad at math. How many years is it now?
17.
17 plus 8 here. I had it right. 25 years between the two of us. So that is amazing. Kevin from right down here in the audience says the Hall of Fame should be based on his play and not anything else. It's insane. He isn't in already. I don't totally disagree with his politics, but he was out. He was one of the best. You don't totally agree with his politics, right? Typo. He says, but he was one of the best to play the game. Is the politics to you, though, is not a playground? Like, you're very serious about this, right? You don't do it for entertainment.
No. I think I said this on the last show, but I was not interested in politics at all. I don't think until 2015, I think I might have voted once in the federal election. And then, and then obviously, I was a big Trump fan prior to him becoming a business guy. Yeah. I had read all of his books and stuff, met him a few times when I was in New York. And, when he came down the escalator, I started following politics and realized that, we had been bamboozled for a long time. And really, at the end of the day, I figured out I was a patriot, a freedom-loving patriot, free speech, free choice, and all of that. And I saw us going down a path that I didn't want to go down personally, and so I started speaking out, and then I started doing research, and went down the proverbial rabbit hole and realized that we were going down a place that I didn't want to go down. And because I have a voice, I'm going to use it.
Yeah. Well, when did you find out that while you have a lot of people screaming at you on the one side, you got a lot of people supporting you on the other side? Yeah. When did that? You didn't plan that.
No, but that's politics, and that's the political atmosphere that we live in now. There is no more center, right? There is no more center. You have to choose left or right. And it's unfortunate that the left and the right never get in the same room and debate anymore like we did in the old days. And I wish that would happen, because I know that if we went through that exercise, we'd all end up in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the unfortunate thing is, we have politicians who are deliberately dividing us, and that's not their job. It's, we the people, right? We are supposed to run government, and that is completely flipped around where the government is now dictating to us, what we should do, who, what, when, where, and how. And that's
not right.
Not right.
Yeah, and that's not just in Canada.
No,
I see it's all over the world.
It's all over the world.
Yeah.
You see what's happening in France. You see what's happening in the Netherlands. You see what's happening all over the world. It's very, but, I still have faith that we will bring down this horrible system, and we will create a system where everybody can prosper. And because, let's face it, we should all be living in abundance. There shouldn't be any homelessness. There shouldn't be any drug addiction. There shouldn't be any of that stuff, and that's a direct result of the system that we live in.
It's coming from somewhere for sure.
Yeah.
And I will end it with this. Just back to that Lanny roast. It was on the floor of the Saddle Dome. I don't know how many people were there, 1,000?
Yeah.
And Theo came walking down. I don't know if it was you or your wife, but I know this. The whole place just stopped and looked at you guys. And you had like a tuxedo on, and she had, again, an Academy Awards thing. And I thought, they love this guy. And you guys had the best time up on the stage. Everybody had their red Flames jerseys on.
Yeah.
It's good for you in Calgary, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I'm a Western Canadian kid. I couldn't have been drafted by a better team. I couldn't have been mentored by a better group of guys. From Harley and BJ and Doc Seaman to Cliff Fletcher to Al Coates, Al McNeil to Lanny, Pep, Timmy Hunter, Dougie Gilmore, all those guys who were part of that team. And when you win a Stanley Cup in a city, you
can ride it forever.
Yeah, and not only were you expected to be a great player for the organization, you were expected to be a part of the community. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I took away from being a Calgary Flame was, this is a community, and it takes a community to have an NHL team in a small market. And we were taught right from day one that we were expected to be a part of the community. And so when I was deciding where I wanted to live after I retired, and Alberta is probably one of the most charitable provinces in the whole on the whole entire planet. And I've been a part of some great charities here, the Juvenile Diabetes, Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. Now I have my own foundation, the Breaking Free Foundation. I belong to a global mental health organization out of New York called We're All a Little Crazy. So it's all part of giving back, right? Because without the fans,
there's no hockey.
There is no us.
Yeah. Theo, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
There's a lineup of folks here that want to see him. Carter, he's done. Carter, he wants a picture with you. There he is. Another Manitoba guy. We'll be right back in the Moose. Will rejoin us. We have our NHL Top 5, Bottom 5 coming up. We'll take a look at tonight in the NHL and more. We're live on Game Plus Television, YouTube, and iHeartRadio, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE, The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina. It's March, it's madness! Capital GMC Buick Cadillac has gone mad with crazy low pricing throughout the store. Capital has Sierra 1500s with rates starting as low as 1.49%. Over 400 new vehicles in stock, or drive away in a GM certified pre-owned vehicle. They all come with a 150 plus point inspection and a 3-month warranty. It's March, it's madness! On now at Capital GMC Buick Cadillac, Saskatchewan's #1 GM retailer, capitalgmc.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
All right, we're back live at Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. You see, it's that time. We've got the Bet Regal robot, and we've got Darren Moose DuPont with us. We do it every week. For Bet Regal, it's a segment called Bad Beats, and it is events in games that beat your ticket and cost you some money. Moose, what do you got for Bad Beats this week, sir?
Oh, NCAA basketball. Now, it's not Furman, it's not Fairleigh Dickinson, it's not Princeton or any of these wild finishes, because that wouldn't have affected the betting line, right? It was Gonzaga TCU. Gonzaga favored by 4.5 points. 4.5 points. They hit 2 free throws at the end of the game to go up by 6. There's 0.7 seconds left. The game is over. No chance for TCU. What did they do? You've seen basketball players. They rolled the ball down the floor so the clock doesn't start. Nobody did anything. And what did TCU do? Picked the ball up and at the last second, ho-hum, drained a three-pointer. And everybody who bet Gonzaga lost the bet, even though they won the game. And it was over 70% of voters that had picked Gonzaga to win, and they were crushed with 0.7 seconds left.
Well, let's be honest, all of March Madness really is a bad beat. I mean, the highest number ever filling out a bracket, which means the highest number of losers. But you know what? I think that's fun.
Oh, yeah. So much fun. You know, there was videos you can watch of the sports books in Vegas at Caesars Palace, at MGM, and these different sports books, the physical ones, where the bettors were throwing their papers at the buzzer as the sound goes off. And you can only imagine the tension in the room. Wild stuff.
Hey, Ryan O'Radio checking in from WQE. He says King Rod is on his throne. Thank you, Ryan. Yeah, it's the always fun Bad Beat segment. And by the way, we have our NHL Top 5, Bottom 5 coming up. And I'll keep the robe on for that. But I do want to say something with Theo, and he's understandably mobbed here when he left the stage by people that wanted to see him. Very popular guy, very polarizing guy, obviously, and he's okay with that. But from our audience, some questions have come in, and I hope you enjoyed the interview with Theo, Darren, and our viewers as much as I did, and listeners. John Ohm in Winnipeg. Oh, I read that once already. He says, thank you, Theo, for being you. In Tallahassee, Florida, Corey is watching the Hockey Club podcast. He says, Fleur speaks truth. It's not politics. And Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, has a question. He says, how do both of you as people in recovery control the urge hosting events in bars, pubs, and casinos? It's actually funny that he asks that. And I'll answer this. I mean, most days we stay right on the sports topic, but today we kind of ventured into life. You know this, Darren, as my boss. It's not a secret, but when I entered recovery, I was, number one, directed to go to a treatment center, rehab. And I said, nope, not going. Nope. In retrospect, I should have gone, but I didn't go. But the guy that was doing that directive says, okay, you need to meet these 3 conditions for you to keep your job. And one was you have to abstain from alcohol, and that includes desserts, you know, with alcohol in them. Like, no alcohol, period. And I said, I can do that. 2, you need to travel with a chaperone wherever you go, because I traveled all the time. I had to have a guy living with me, staying with me. It was embarrassing. Sad thing is, my life was that embarrassing that I needed it. So they did that. And then 3, I was not allowed to go anywhere where alcohol was present for work. I'm like, buddy, do you understand what I do for a living? I broadcast from arenas and stadiums and sports banquets and sports bars and casinos. This isn't going to work. I have to go into these places. He didn't last much longer as my counselor, if you will, and I'm with a new guy now, but that's when I realized there's a specialized area to what I'm doing here in recovery, so I turned that into an industry myself. But you asked about the urge. I don't have the urge, and Theo can tell you the same. I shouldn't speak for him, but for me, when I sit and think of what alcohol's robbed me of in my life, what it's taken away, pretty much everything, I have no urge. And I don't even think about it anymore. I don't even think about it. So, yeah. Now, NHL Top 5, Bottom 5. Let's go for our exclusive betting partner and sportsbook. Bet Regal will start with the number 1 team in the National Hockey League. It's not even a surprise. A wire-to-wire Boston Bruins number 1 team in the NHL. 11 losses, only Moose in regulation. The NHL record is 8, but this is still very good. Number 2 team, the Carolina Hurricanes. They're the 2nd team to 100 points this season in the NHL. They just hit it last night. They're rolling into the playoffs. Number 3 team in the NHL is the Vegas Golden Knights. No matter what Theo says, number 1 in the West. They've won 8 of their last 10 games. We'll see them live here in Calgary Thursday night. Number 4, the Minnesota Wild have finally made it into the top 5. They are tied for the Central Division lead, and they are tuning up at the right time. And the number 5 team, cover your ears, everybody. The Edmonton Oilers. They've won 4 in a row. They're actually tied with Colorado with 88 points. The Oilers are a team you're going to want to watch. Bottom 5 teams in the National Hockey League right now. And by the way, Moose, yeah, your Leafs slipped out of the top 5. Number 28, the Montreal Canadiens. The future is bright in Montreal, but not now. You got to stop winning like they did against Tampa last night. Number 29, the Chicago Blackhawks. Not sure what they're doing, but they are in the Bedard sweepstakes. Number 30, the Anaheim Ducks. Don't look now. They have the NHL's worst plus-minus goal differential at minus 104. Really bad, Anaheim. No. Second worst team, the San Jose Sharks. They have the 2nd best odds to land Connor Bedard, and quite frankly, I hope that they get him. And the worst team's the Columbus Blue Jackets. We have to at least applaud their very successful way of tanking by getting rid of all their goalies, and they can't win. Except for last night. They couldn't figure that one out, but the Columbus Blue Jackets, the worst team in the NHL. That's our top 5, bottom 5. And to be honest, Darren, I agonized a lot over it. I'd love to know your thoughts. Boston, Carolina, Vegas, Minnesota, Edmonton. I'm not married to these, but those are 5 pretty good teams right now in the NHL.
Oh, are they all? And here's the thing. I'm looking at some of the records and some of the, last 10 games, streaks. All these teams that are in the playoffs, Edmonton 8-2-0, Colorado 7-2-1, Minnesota 7-1-2, right? The teams that are gearing up for the playoffs are playing pretty good hockey. Dallas 6-3-1. And, the Rangers 6-3. But it's LA for me that's the one that I think might or could be in that top 5. They're 8-0-2 in their last 10. They've only had 2 regulation losses in their last 17 games. They're a team that's peaking right now, and with Edmonton breathing down their neck, they're doing everything they can to hold on to home ice in that first round of the playoffs, which I think could end up being pretty big.
Theoren Fleury has predicted the LA Kings will represent the West in the Stanley Cup final. And by the way, that is the poll question today for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center. That is, the NHL's Stanley Cup champion will come from blank conference. And I'm just checking the Twitter poll right now. What are they saying on YouTube, Clark? 61% saying the Eastern Conference will win it. Yeah, YouTube is saying the Eastern Conference. Theo said the Eastern Conference will win the Stanley Cup. I'll remind you that it was the Western Conference last year, the Colorado Avalanche, that won the Stanley Cup. I don't think I asked you what you're voting on the poll. What are you saying?
It could be a case of the East beating themselves up a little bit to get to the playoffs because it's so tough. But I got to go with the East as well. It's just so much deeper. And I think that the team that gets to the Stanley Cup final is going to be more battle-tested and just be in a better spot.
It's going to be fun, isn't it? By the way, on the way, Doug Plagens, the radio voice of the Florida Panthers, and Clark will tell me when he's logged in. And this is Moose's last segment. Okay. This is Moose's last segment of the day. Norm Fong has written in, the Hall of Fame equipment manager of the Rough Riders and formerly the LA Sharks. Fongo says, great seeing Theo on the show again. Signed Fongo. He's always very popular. And, hey, by the way, Theo went after the jugular of the Hockey Hall of Fame, if you noticed that. Why he's not in the Hall of Fame? Come on. 1,000-plus games, 1,000-plus points, Stanley Cup, Olympic gold, World Junior gold. He's a living, breathing Hall of Famer. It makes no sense. Sean in Vancouver writes that he says, speaking of Kadri, he hasn't scored in 16 games. As Theo said, not much chemistry on this team. And Theo said they're not having fun. That's very evident. But who is having a lot of fun is the Florida Panthers. And I'll let you go in a minute or two, Moose, but I just want to ask you this about the junior hockey playoffs. Where you are in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle, is it a lock, Pats, Blades? Are we guaranteed of this?
I don't know if we're guaranteed of that yet, but I think in all likelihood, that's what we're going to get, and that's what we want. I mean, unbelievable stuff. You get a little bit of that rivalry renewed. I think in recent years, it's been more Pats Warriors and Blades Raiders, but if you can get Saskatoon, Regina, the 2 big cities, head-to-head, Bedard, you start selling out tickets. I know the Blades, I believe, have almost sold out their playoff packages, which is unheard of. For that rink in junior hockey, they're going to have single game tickets available. But, I mean, if we're talking sellouts in junior hockey, man, you better believe it's going to be great.
14,000 and change for Sunday's game there. To watch the Pats beat the Blades 4-2. I mean, we do have a lot of viewers in both cities right now. This is not a slam dunk. The Blades, 97 points. They've had a hell of a season. The Pats, 72. That's quite a disparity. Is there any chance the Pats could pull off an upset in the eventuality of a first-round meeting in your mind?
Well, that will be exciting. And obviously, when you have Connor Bedard, you can outscore your problems. And I think that's what the Pats hope to do. But also, in that game, I mean, the Blades, I think they outshot the Pats 48-22, something like that. So clearly we know, the Blades maybe as a whole group continue to play really well. But Kelton Pine, a goaltender most people in this country have never heard of, played really well. And if they get good goaltending and Bedard scores a few goals, the playoffs, Roddy. That's all it takes.
Frank Salazar writing in, he says, Rod, your thoughts on the NHL signing with Fanatics for the jersey deal? We discussed it yesterday. interested in talking about that today. Steve Kimball writes in, he says, Lanny McDonald and the Old Boys Club not open to voting. Lanny's the problem with the Hall of Fame. It's awkward, I would think, that Lanny's the chairman of the Hall of Fame and Theo's not in there. I'm hoping, because of the type of guy that Lanny is, that he can twist some arms and get Theo in and do the right thing. Moose, we're done. Great job. Thanks for popping back on today. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You bet. Enjoy Calgary. Great show today.
Thank you. A team that is having a lot of fun is the Florida Panthers, despite last night's loss in Philly. And the voice of the Panthers, Doug Plagens, joins us next. We're live from Grey Eagle Resort and Casino, Calgary's entertainment destination. We're the gateway of the foothills, live on Game Plus Television, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and we're Atlanta's NHL show, WQEE The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersenshop.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult, because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
It's March, it's madness! Capital GMC Buick Cadillac has gone mad with crazy low pricing throughout the store. Capital has Sierra 1500s with rates starting as low as 1.49%. Over 400 new vehicles in stock. Or drive away in a GM certified pre-owned vehicle. They all come with a 150-plus point inspection and a 3-month warranty. It's March, it's madness! On now at Capital GMC Buick Cadillac, Saskatchewan's #1 GM retailer, capitalgmc.ca. Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, if you love the timeless music of the Eagles, and who doesn't, then you can't afford to miss Hotel California, the original Eagles tribute on Thursday, April 27th, right here at Grey Eagle Resort and Casino, Calgary's entertainment destination. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.ca. NHL last night, Travis Sanheim scored twice. Kata Hot made 41 saves, and the Philadelphia Flyers defeated the Florida Panthers 6-3. Brandon Montour had a goal and a helper. Matthew Tkachuk and Sam Reinhart also scored for Florida. I listened to it with this guy, Doug Plagens, the radio voice of the Florida Panthers. And 6-3, Doug, thanks for coming on, by the way, the day after the game, because I know it had to be a late night for you. You sounded a little deflated. The team sounded a little deflated, especially coming after a 3-game win streak. What went on last night in Philly for the Cats?
Yeah, it was just one of those nights, and thanks for having me. Just wasn't the Panthers' night. That was kind of the vibe you got there late in the second period. It was close for a while, and then Philadelphia scored 3 in the final, I believe, 3 minutes, 6 seconds of the second period. They took that 5-2 lead, so that was kind of where the Panthers fell behind, and they kept it interesting. They looked like they had a chance to come back in the third. They got back to within a pair, had a couple of power plays, but ultimately Philadelphia prevailed in that one. I think the big picture thing to look at, just like, and I said this in the postgame, you don't want to get too excited after a win. You also don't want to get too deflated after one loss, because this is a playoff race. The Panthers, despite losing, still find themselves in a wild card spot here at this moment. And they're 20-11-3 since the turn of the new year. This has been something that's been building. This team's really found its footing, really gotten some traction in the second half of the year. So they positioned themselves in a good spot, and they're still very much, again, as far as I'm concerned, in the driver's seat for one of these wild card spots.
Well, I got to ask you, November, December, when I was around and going to the games, they seemed languishing somewhat. What changed? The calendar? And who gets credit for this play?
The calendar did change, but I don't think that was the biggest factor. You look at, as you mentioned, November, December, January as well. The Panthers played a grind of a schedule. It was unlike anything I've seen. They were on the road so much there, especially in January. There was a stretch, if you count Sunrise, between the 6th and 24th of January, the Panthers were in 10 different cities in less than 3 weeks. So they played a grind of a schedule in January. Yeah. And you remember back to the early part of the season, they had a prolonged stretch with no Aaron Ekblad, a stretch without Alexander Barkov. They had a stretch without Anton Lundell, without Radko Gudas. They had some key players going in and out. It really wasn't until Anthony Duclair came back that you were able to say the Panthers had their optimal lineup on the ice. And now you look back at, especially this month of March, the Panthers have been at home a lot. They are, knock on wood, despite a couple of guys, Duclair being one of them, out last night, the Panthers got back to full health at a time when a lot of teams are dealing with injuries piling up here late in the year. So the Panthers were able to get everybody on the ice, have their maximum depth, and they were able to enjoy some time on home ice. Paul Maurice also talks about the fact that it was that January 1st game against the New York Rangers. The Panthers didn't win that game at FLA Live Arena, but Paul Maurice specifically liked the way the Panthers finished that game, their second and third periods back on January 1st against the Rangers. That was where things really turned, and they've been able to keep the game consistent since then. And it's a game they feel they can replicate every night, and that's why they've had a chance to win every night. And you look at, in addition to that, the heavy lifting that the big guns have done. Matthew Tkachuk, Alexander Barkov, these guys have been great, and Sergei Bobrovsky between the pipes has shouldered a heavy load, and he's been outstanding too.
There's a lot to talk with you about, Doug, and I'm obviously not going to keep you long, just another 6-7 minutes, but we talk here in Calgary about a team that's not having fun. Theoren Fleury was just on the air talking about it here earlier. It's very evident. But I watch the Panthers games, and I watch a lot of times from ice level, they're having fun. And I don't know, I don't see them at practice or morning skate. I watch them in the games, and they're smiling ear to ear, and these guys love each other. What's up with that? Like, that seems to me not normal. What's with these guys?
Well, you know, it's, again, that's something that a lot of people have pointed to. You're not the only person who's noticed that. This group of guys genuinely enjoys being around each other. They enjoy spending time together on and off the ice. And it's a group of guys that really care about each other. And a lot of credit goes to Bill Zito and the Panthers hockey operations and scouting staff for gone out finding high character guys over the last few years, and high character guys that can blend together pretty seamlessly. You look at the way this roster is overturned the last few years. There are a lot of guys who've come into this group, and they've all really just blended together well. So again, the coaching staff, the leadership group of the team, no doubt that they deserve a lot of credit, but Bill Zito and the Panthers scouting staff for finding high character players who are able to blend together well. A lot of credit goes to them too. This is something you hear a lot, and it sounds cliche sometimes, but it's genuine with the Panthers. This group really does enjoy being around each other, and again, every night when they hit the ice, they're playing for the guy next to them, and that goes a long way.
It shows. But in your mind, Doug, was there a coming out party for Matthew Tkachuk? Because remember, I'm here in Calgary, so people are saying to me, oh, you're in Florida half the year. How's Tkachuk doing now down there? I said, well, look how he's doing. He's leading the team in scoring, MVP of the All-Star Week. And I said, aside from Tua and Tyreek Hill, he might be the most popular athlete in South Florida. Yeah, where was his coming out party with the Panthers and the fans, do you think?
I tell you what, from the start of the season, he's produced every single night. Goals, assists, getting under the skin of the opposition, just infusing an attitude and a swagger and a confidence into this team. From the outset, his presence has been noticeable. It's been felt. He's meant more than you could even quantify to this Panthers team over the course of the year. And you look at his numbers, you look at how many multi-point games he's had. He's over 30 multi-point games on the year. Doesn't matter who he's played with. He's produced every single night. And the guy just hasn't had a cold stretch at all. It's tough to go through a whole NHL season without any kind of slump, but he's managed to do that. And the fans love him down here. He made he was really I guess, in a sense, the mayor of the All-Star Weekend, not only winning the MVP, but he was front and center at so many of the events. He and Alexander Barkov as the Panthers All-Star representatives. He has meant so much to this team and to the market and the region as a whole. Folks just love this guy. They love rooting for him every single night. And then you watch him play. Paul Maurice has talked about this a lot. His hands around the net are just otherworldly. He doesn't just tip pucks. He steers pucks. He directs them to where he wants them to go. And then you look at his assist totals on the year. I don't think Matthew gets the credit around the league that he deserves for how good of a passer he is, how good of a distributor of the puck he is. He can find teammates all over the place. And again, that's why he's closing in on 100 points here as we head down the home stretch.
Well, just when you talk to a Flames fan or a hockey person here, and they're just like, oh, how did we let him get away? So anyways, Florida's gain is their loss. And I want to say this, lastly, how much fun was the Montreal game, Doug? Because I was listening to it, and you're halfway through the first period, you're like, well, fans, the last time the Panthers or the Habs allowed 6 goals was March 11th, and Bill Lindsay goes, make it 7. Like you couldn't keep up with the goals going in. What was it like in the arena that night?
It was like nothing I'd ever seen. And I know it's one of those games coaches don't want to see that. But as it's going on, you're thinking, you know what, as long as we get the 2 points here tonight from the Panthers' perspective, we're at the point in the season where a win's a win and you just take it. And as the game was going on, you just had to realize, okay, this is something we don't see every day. This is an anomaly. Let's just take this all in for what it is. And again, fortunately, from the Panthers' perspective, they wound up with the 2 points in that game. And things, if you can believe it, actually did calm down a bit as far as the goal scoring goes. It ended 9-5, but as the game went on, things did. I guess the goal scoring did calm down in the later stages. But that was a wild one, and we're referencing different points in history and mentioning teams like the Hartford Whalers and Montreal Maroons to illustrate, the magnitude historically of what was going on that night in terms of the quantity of goals scored. So it was something you certainly don't see every day. And from the Panthers' perspective, we're at a point in the year where the 2 points are the biggest thing that matters, and at the end of it, that was the biggest thing we were talking about.
Yeah, well, I do love the fun that you and Billy have together on the air. That's very evident, too. Let me just say this, groundswell of talk of playoffs there in South Florida, people getting hyped up in the region. I see the attendance is awful right now. What's the vibe?
Well, people are excited. They know this is a team that has achieved some success the last couple of years, obviously, and a team that certainly has the talent not only to get into the playoffs, but to make a run once they do get there. And right now they find themselves in one of those wild card spots as you and I talk right here. So playing great hockey in the second half. The buzz is building. The fans want to see this team back in the playoffs. No doubt about that. The players certainly hungry every single night, and they're enjoying being a part of this race as well. And I've thought for a while here this team was going to get its way back into one of those playoff spots. I'm very optimistic that they will. They're playing great at a great time of the season. And again, last night's game, that was one they'll just move on from. But 20-11-3 since January 1st, I can't drive that home enough. This isn't something that's just been a hot streak over the last couple of weeks. This has been something that's built over time. You roll out 20-11-3 over a full season, and that's better than a wild card team. That's going to put you in the top three in your division. So this team knows that they have what it takes to get into a playoff spot and then make some noise once they get there.
Well, kudos to the players and the coaching staff for sure, and keep it rolling. And Doug, be sure to enjoy it, and I know you are. See you soon, my friend. Thanks for the time today.
Thanks very much, Rod.
The radio voice of the Florida Panthers, Doug Plagens. We'll be right back with Overtime. We'll take a look at a sports update and audience takeover when we return. We're live on Game Plus Television, iHeartRadio. We're live streaming on YouTube, and we are Atlanta's NHL radio show on your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
It's March. It's madness. Capital Ford has gone mad with crazy low pricing throughout the store. Save up to $7,000 on a brand new F-150. They have over 150 available right now. Or drive home in a new to you used vehicle. Plus, Capital Ford offers the highest guaranteed trade-in value, or they'll give you $500 cash. Get your hands on a new ride before they come to their senses. On now at Capital Ford. Visit CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I gotta hit the beat.
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for $25, 3 for $60, or 10 for $100. But there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
One more time today, live from Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Doesn't that look fun? We're on Game Plus Television, YouTube, and WQEE Radio. And as we could end this the way we opened it, tell me where you are watching or listening from today on our text line, 902-518-3033. We had a ton off the hip-hop, off the jump. But then it's got kind of cold, and we got 7 minutes, producer Clark tells me here, before we wind it up for the day. Where are you consuming today's program from? Maybe you're listening to the podcast days later. Doesn't mean you can't text me now as soon as you hear it. 902-518-3033. It was a very, not emotional per se, show today. Theo and I talk about this stuff all the time, but maybe for some of our audience, it was a different kind of day. Mike in Speedy Creek writes in and Swift Current says, it's ridiculous that Theoren Fleury is not in the Hall of Fame based on what he has done. It's supposed to be based on your hockey performance. Flames fan from the beginning, says Mike in Swift Current. That's why I get upset about this, because I'm not that big into the combine and draft, even though my guy Kevin and I are going on Saturday. Right, Kev? We're going to the combine, the CFL combine this weekend. To say that we went, I mean, and to see the CFL personalities, but I'm not that big into the draft. I've always been really big into the Hall of Fames of every league, and I love the debate, who's worthy and who's not. But things have changed with Halls of Fames now, and it's not about your career. It's gotten political. And I'm kind of over all of that, and that's why I wasn't even going to bring it up today with Theo. He brought it up, how and why he's not in the Hockey Hall of Fame. And I love Gino Retta. He's a great guy, but it was TSN's Gino Retta who said on TSN one day, Theo's not in the Hall of Fame because of the stigma. And it just sent me around the bend. Why? Because he's in a recovery from addiction? Because he's a victim of child sex abuse? Because he had addiction problems related to that? There's so much people don't understand about that world, and that's keeping him out of the Hall of Fame because he was an addict? Oh, and by the way, he's 17 years sober? Or is it now because of his political views? I don't really know. None of that should matter. It should be about the fact he's over 1,000 games played, over 1,000 points scored, Stanley Cup, Olympic gold, World Junior gold. What else is there? It's wrong. And it's sad to me that the debates we used to have with Halls of Fame doesn't even matter anymore because it's not about the career. We used to sit and debate who should get in and who shouldn't based on their career. Eric Lindros, Pavel Bure, neither won a Stanley Cup. But are they Hall of Famers? Yeah, probably. Oh, who did he vote for? Oh, did he drink too much? Phil in Dauphin, Manitoba, watching on Game Plus TV, says, good day, big fan of Theo Fleury. His book got me through the lockdown pandemic, he says. I loved watching him play, especially in the 0-2 gold medal game. When I see him and people who struggled but made it through, the song from Elton John, I'm Still Standing, definitely comes to mind. Watch the Elton John movie. Holy smokes. Rocket Man. It's one of the best I've seen. And yeah, I'm still standing. Theo is a testament, inspiration to thousands, if not millions. And he's not in the Hall of Fame because what does it say that he's being excluded from something? What more has he got to do? And as I said to him, you've had a Hall of Fame career. That should be enough. That's just how I feel about him. He doesn't agree. So fair. That's why I can sleep at night with my own career and the things that I've been through. I got the best-selling books. I've got the championship rings. I've got the show on national television. I don't need to be recognized for anything. I've had the career. I sleep just fine. Except last night, right? A sports update on this Wednesday. There are just 2 games in the NHL tonight, including the surging Edmonton Oilers at home to the Arizona Coyotes. Edmonton's won 4 in a row, 8 of their last 10. Elsewhere tonight, Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins take on Nathan McKinnon and the Colorado Avalanche. It's a double dip tonight on national television, I believe. The Toronto Raptors will try to keep a 7-game home win streak alive when they host the Indiana Pacers at a key matchup in the NBA's Eastern Conference playoff race. The Raptors hold down 9th while the Pacers are 3 points back in 11th. Oh, by the way, how about the Atlanta Hawks? Here come the Hawks. We had our way last night with the Pistons, 129-107. The World Baseball Classic will return for its 6th edition in March 2026, with organizers concluding that spring training remains a better time than after the World Series or in the middle of the MLB season. Tuesday night, Shohei Ohtani struck out L.A. Angels teammate Mike Trout for the final out to give Japan a 3-2 win over the defending champion USA and the World Baseball Classic Championship game in Miami. This sports update is for Landmark Cinemas, coming to theaters March 24th. That's this Friday night. John Wick Chapter 4, starring Keanu Reeves. In this one, John Wick takes on his most lethal adversaries yet in the upcoming 4th installment of the series. With the price on his head ever increasing, Wick takes his fight against a high-table global. Sounds spectacular to me. John Wick Chapter 4. What do we got here? Tomorrow we're going to have some special guests here from the Muay Thai World Cup. It's coming up this weekend here at Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Who else we got tomorrow, Clark? Can we say real bit? Oh, Jim Clubber-Lang, Canada's foremost NFL expert. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, I'm no expert and have no business, but maybe as Theo was to say, I don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry. The comments are coming in too crazy. I'm sorry. From WQEE Rock, another great RP show, great interviews. Go Panthers. That's right, man. Go Cats. We'll see you tomorrow, noon Eastern, here live on Game Plus. And the key.
Who has more fun than us?